It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
All right, we are live in the house after that killer track that just got me hyped the fuck up, baby. It's like, that's the best $50 I ever spent, I'll tell you that. And I used to party. I've spent $50 on some weird shit. Anyways, welcome to Blake's Buzz. That's the vibe we're setting tonight, everybody. Don't be scared. Say what you want to say. Don't get us canceled, though, please. Like, but we like to ride that line. Welcome to the third episode of Blake's Buzz Live. I have some wonderfully, beautifully talented indie comics experts in the house tonight. We're just gonna go around the room. We're gonna introduce each other, and I'm just gonna go in the order. So, the first person, no one paid me or paid for an exclusive first introduction. We're just gonna go in the order on the screen. Mr. Schiek, we got
Hi.
Mr. Comics Artist in the house. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I am awesome. I did that day job thing, and the only thing that had me hanging on by the thread was ooh, I get to rock out with some awesome nerds tonight.
That can be both the best and the worst. It's been a while since I've done the day job thing. I'm actually kind of looking for one at the moment to supplement things, but I don't miss it.
Yeah, so many times during the day, I have to remind myself, especially because I work from home. So it's I could just get up and leave and go in the other room and turn my computer off and be like, fuck you. Sorry, not sorry. But I'm I always remind myself, you are in debt to 13 Kickstarter campaigns and you have to pay for those. So keep taking the calls, keep working. Jay, thanks for showing up tonight. We appreciate you. We got another Jay Michael Donohue. Both of these Jays are in cahoots with a Kickstarter that we'll be talking about tonight. Jay, thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you this evening, sir?
Good. Yeah, about the same. Had to get through the day job, get the kids all, hang out with them, get them to bed, and come nerd out with you guys.
Well, hey, we're glad you did, man. And so coming up next, we got Jenna and Karl, who I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this out there that they might be the new comic power couple. We got Lady Mayhem just had a great campaign. We're going to talk about Cult of Icarus tonight, which congratulations, just sold out, went to second printing. How good does that feel? Show me the money, baby. Come on. And it's also just a great book, by the way, but congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm super
second printing. It's to quote Empire Records, it's like getting out of a hot bath. It's a good feeling. It makes me feel like a bath. Ugh.
Oh, not on Rex Manning Day though, right? I always quote when the breakdown scene was here's one for your perfect body and your perfect life. I don't know why. I love that movie. There's so many great moments, but that is always the scene that comes and I'm just you're wasting all these pills. Pick them up. Anyways.
At least once a week, one of us says, "Who knows where thoughts come from? They just appear."
That is awesome. And last but definitely not least, Mick Beyers is in the house. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want I try not to administer any preference to any guest, but Mick had a mutual friend DM me on Twitter and was hey, my buddy watched your show and really liked it and wants to come on. And I was what? And so just if you ever want to come on my show, you can lie to me, just pretend you watched it, just have someone, hey, I saw Blake's Buzz Live and I got this comic you want to have. So that's how you do it. Mick, you're a fucking genius and a scholar and a great comic book creator, man. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. I'm
glad my agent contacted you, and I could clear time in my schedule to be here. It's great to spend time.
his agent, by the way, is freaking Charlie Stickney, who I still
Charlie.
like. He's so cool. Like, and I love that guy. And I still get freaked out because I'm like, networking in any form of literature, which I stand and will die on this hill. Comic books are literature, but networking is so important in literature, even though it's sometimes a bad thing. But the people that I've got to interview and talk to, and like, I have like imposter syndrome, much like artists and writers do, in that like I just sometimes think like I'm goofy and I don't get why people tolerate me. And like but it's like sometimes people remind me like, well, you're kind of good at doing this, and Charlie is one of those people, and so anyways, I love Charlie, I love Scout, and I love indie comics, and that's what we are here to celebrate tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is indie comics in all their multitude of forms, whether it's from an indie press, whether it's from crowdfunding, whether it's an anthology, whether it's Mick, I don't even know what you did, man. You took like an old series of novels and then made them like universally applicable to any audience. Like, what the?
I mean,
fuck?
I feel like that. I feel like that is definitely overselling it.
Oh, well, all right. So everybody, thank you for spending your new comic book eve with me. I know lots of people probably go, have a stack of comics to buy, and you, or maybe you're like me and you just buy shit and don't read it. You just like put it in a pile and like save it for a rainy day. I feel like I'm not the only one who does that, but like I do appreciate everybody coming on the show, and I guess I'm just going to go off like the flyer I released. And so we're going to start, we're going to just kick the undead, buried, vampiric, Slavic history. And we're going to go right into Cult of Icarus.
Oh shit.
It just blew my fucking brains out, basically, guys. Like, I'm not alive right now. You are talking to a ghost. So I said this 2 years ago in 2020. I was like, comic books are making vampires fucking dope again. And like we had Dracula motherfucker. We had Vault do Vampire the Masquerade and bring that back. Mm-hmm. We had Scott Snyder brought back his American Vampire. Wow, mm-hmm. Got hung up there. And I had this whole speech worked out, and I get nervous, but it's fine. But yeah, so and so you are up there now with this like upper echelon of vampiric narratives, and I'm so glad your comic book sold out, because like, good, it should sell. It's so and Scout has like two of like the top tier vampire novel or graphic or comic books. That's what we're talking about, right? Vampire comics. Steak is excellent and beautiful. And then now you guys come in and you're like, time out. I'm gonna fucking drop the mic on this coffin and just sell out this first print. I got this queued up here. We'll just go hop over here. So Cult of Icarus is sold out, everybody.
Oh snap.
Yeah.
But this web store exclusive is still in stock. And I highly recommend everybody buying it, because I feel like this is gonna get more expensive. And I love the Lost Boys movie poster variant.
I was psyched that Karl decided to do the Lost Boys variant because it's one of our favorite films. And I was like, it's just so classic. I feel like, listen, I know probably other people have done it too, but like, we got to do it with these characters. We love these characters so much.
I'm glad it's such a that cover like
he makes me look good. Like I write a few words on a piece of paper and then he goes and makes it look amazing. So
well, I mean, fair. Like the artist does a lot. I appreciate you splitting that like artist writer dichotomy that often gets like misconstrued online. Sure. Real quick, I'm just going to drop the solicit so everybody can know what we're talking about here. This is the solicit for Cult of Icarus from Scout. Tossed out by her foster family after one too many rides home from the back of a cop car, Hunter packs up and sets out on a mission to find out who she is. A mysterious book, her only link to her parents, leads her to discover a covert world of magic and danger running parallel to our own. One punk rock show, 2 whiskeys, and 3 vicious vampire assassins later, Hunter's on the run from an ancient deadly cult of Icarus. Hunter came looking for answers. What will become of her once she gets them?
That was really good dramatic reading.
Yo, I'm gonna hire you to do my voicemail messages. Done. I don't
great.
talk to people anymore.
Guys, it was so good. It's
Thanks,
so
man.
good. So first of all, how many issues is this going to be? Do we know?
We had initially planned on 5, and then as we were plotting the story, because we plotted it together, we realized that we could just jam as much as possible into 4. So there was just it was all killer, no filler. And we let Scout know, and they were totally cool with doing 4 instead of 5, and we ran with it.
Yeah, we're not into padding. Not into padding. I'm not gonna do that trade waiting bullshit.
As a trade waiter, I take offense, but I have too much respect for you to get mad about it.
It's all good. Dude, meet me in the square circle, man. We're AEW this shit. It's good. We're fair matched. This can happen.
By the way, listeners and people commenting, I'm really sorry that I am absolutely terrible at paying attention to the comments. I get thrown into the chat, so I will try to do. Oh, John Westhoff's in the house tonight. I just yelled at him on Twitter because he's costing me too much damn money because he keeps hyping too many Kickstarters. And I just have to he shows cool stuff and I gotta back it. It's terrible. And the same thing happened with Lady Mayhem with Kevin and Will's show. I saw your Kickstarter and also how dare you just go from oh yeah, we got this super heavy metal badass femme fatale Kickstarter with old throwback violence, and we're just gonna hit the ground running. That did very well, and then you're like, yeah, we're gonna drop this little vampire narrative and just sell that out. Yeah, we're just hanging out. We're just hanging out writing comics, just doing whatever. How's it? You guys gotta be feeling pretty good right now, right?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm great.
I feel like it's always nice when other people like the weird stuff you think is fun and cool. So the fact that there was such a nice response to the Kickstarter and to Cult of Icarus, when we heard that it went to second printing, we were thrilled because it's okay, it's not just us that loves this. Other people are digging it too. That's the best feeling.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you got to put a bullet in me to stop me at this point.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not done. I'm just gonna keep on making dope comics. If you come, you come.
I always come.
Attaboy, Blake. You get that? Yeah.
Young children don't watch the show, right? That's.
I mean, it's after 10.
Yeah, it's after 10. And they're like, what the fuck does a kid know about Kickstarter? Mom, Dad, can I borrow your credit card for something we can pay for a month from now? Oh,
yeah,
sure.
Lady Mayhem is definitely not for children.
Yeah, there's headshots in the first 5 pages. Forget about it. I'm putting bullets in bodies, baby.
How tricky is it to write a vampire narrative? As I mentioned, you guys there's a lot of competition you got to deal with, and how hard is it to come up with an idea that sticks out like that?
We had initially thought of making this supernatural faction of creatures not vampires, and then we realized instead of creating an entire mythology, we thought everyone already knows what vampires are and what they do and what their tropes are. So instead of running away from it, let's lean into it. And some of the reviews have, because we read our reviews. I'm a super narcissist. I read my reviews.
Yeah, I see all of you, motherfuckers. I see all of you.
So it's been oh, the story's kind of familiar. It's kind of Buffy. It's kind of Blade. It's kind of this. And we're like, yeah, because we specifically made a choice to lean into the familiarity of it. And then hopefully in issues 2, 3, and 4, you see where we took it in a new direction.
And no kayfabe, but let's take a moment to talk about this. Y'all are complaining about stuff being familiar, and you're going to see the Batman you've seen 18 times. The Waynes have been murdered. Bruh, settle down. You don't want original shit anymore. Fuck off with that.
Have you guys seen the meme of Dr. Manhattan sitting on Mars and he's like
Yes.
talking about the
That was
time
great.
passed by and he was like, 30 years ago I saw a gritty Batman.
It's real. It's real talk. Like, listen, if you can give someone an original idea, more power to you. But the thing that's tricky is give someone a little bit of familiarity. Give them that candy coating that gets them into the world that you want to show them, which is what issue 1 of Cult of Icarus is. And then blow their minds with issue 2. Just fuck with their shit completely. And everything that we do, we're trying to like rely on tropes to get you in. Like, oh, it's familiar? Good, because that's all that people do. Like, we also work in film, so like everything old is new again every day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no idea is original. So like I come from an MFA background and I like spent a whole bunch of money on a bunch of bullshit. Shout out to UMKC. I'm sure my professors will love to hear that, but everybody's got their opinion about an MFA program. I learned a lot and I'll be poor forever because of it. So that's cool. But you want to, like I did learn a few very smart things from that. But one of them was that like a sign of a great writer is not to avoid cliches, but to make them work for you.
Yep.
And so I like that. I like that you were both like, hey, like we're here. We're excited about things that came before us. We're here to celebrate things that came before us. We're also here to fucking blow your fucking minds and jam a stake through your heart and watch you fucking bleed out and smile and laugh while you pay $15 for a Scout store exclusive variant. And I love that.
Faces.
And ripping spines out.
I do want to mention that though, and a lot, and you part of this, or a lot of this, some of this, I don't want to offend anybody, but Karl, your portrayal of a staked vampire and how just absolutely fucking gruesome and gnarly that was on the page.
Yo,
in that public bathroom, like, dude.
I'm not mincing words here. If I'm gonna get that for mature readers label, I'm gonna fucking earn that shit.
For it.
Yeah.
Like, man, remember the days when comics were dangerous?
I feel like I wrote like, and he dissolves like a vampire dissolves. Will you make him dissolve, please? That's what he did with it. So
she's really eloquent, but when she's writing for me, she's just like, can you just make that shit fucking gnarly?
I'm a super duper good writer.
Well, I heard you guys, talk about that on other shows too, though. And so that, the two of you are together and so that I'm sure that both enhances and restricts and maybe sometimes makes shit weird when you're writing together. I'm sure all the iconic creative teams in the world have butted heads every now and then. Right. But like, do you guys ever have to like walk away from each other? Like, I'm going to go get a coffee. You fucking go to the basement and shut your goddamn mouth. Like,
you're assuming we have a basement.
We just have really loud downstairs neighbors.
We're actually pretty copacetic for the most part.
What's really nice is that I understand that Karl has a huge comics background. Like, he went to the Kubert school. He went to school for this. He knows what he's doing. And I am not necessarily like an interloper, but I'm someone who came from a different medium. And I'm the one who's on the learning curve here. So I'll write the script, but like, especially in issue 1, he'd come back with notes and be like, listen, you're going to want a page turn here. You're going to want to end the moment here. And like, he's like, listen, don't explain a fight scene to me. I don't need it. Just write fight scene and I've got it all planned out in my head. So it's actually really nice that I can just walk into the other room and say, hey, what do you think about the way I put the panels here and like how I'm doing this transition? He'll be like, awesome, but switch this and flip this over here. And it's so much easier than kind of having to feel out a stranger that you don't know and be like, how do you like to work and what do you like to do?
Okay.
It works really well, actually.
That's awesome. Well, all I know is that, I'm sorry, Karl. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, no bullshit. We were fans of each other before we were fans of each other.
Yeah.
Like, we met under the pretenses of like working professionals that like dug what each other did. We just happened to live in the same town by hook or by crook. And then we were just like, you know what? Fucking, we should work together. And I was like, we should work together too. I don't know how this shit happens.
Hey, you want to make comics and also get married? Sure.
Yeah, like fucking life goals. Like shit. As a single guy in Kansas City, like I need to update my Tinder profile. Like,
listen, it
looking
can happen
for the one to make comics with.
The reason he found me is because Facebook suggested that he friend me, and then he realized I live in the same city as him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I thought he lived in Los Angeles, and I had no idea.
Wow. See, when I friend request random women, they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And why are you friend requesting me? So that's cool that things work out differently for different people.
No joke. I don't think she'd be talking to me if I didn't post a picture of my cat.
Pictures work.
I didn't know where that was going to go for a second.
Yeah, he posted a picture of his cat on his drawing desk, and I reached out and was like, "That's a dope cat," and he was like, "Yeah, I know."
Don't tell me how cool my cat is, lady. Well, however it happened, I'm glad it happened, and we'll come back to Cult of Icarus, but I gotta bounce around. We got other people here. I gotta share the wealth. So let's go to J and J, the J squared, the hot double J team of the evening. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but there's a Kickstarter called Morsels, and I'm gonna pull that bad mammer jammer up real quick. Nope, that's just me. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Oh wait, there we go. All right, technology. All right, here we go. So we got Morsels, who I just want to tell both of you that I'm like really irritated in both of you because I keep changing what cover I want, and it's irritating me. And I'm probably gonna end up buying both of them, but I'm backing so many Kickstarters right now, so like buying multiple issues of the same Kickstarter is like kudos for like making me want to do that, but also like damn you to the hells that you write about in your scary stories for making me want to do that. Let's go find these covers real quick. So we got this bad mammer jammer right here. I'm just going to say bad mammer jammer over and over again. I don't know if you guys notice, like, me interviewing you and hosting is me saying fuck and like, and apparently bad mammer jammer just over and over again nonstop. That's the only thing I say.
It's not inaccurate. I mean, it's
and so we got the Alex Cormack cover, and this is the one I currently have right now because I like Alex and I love his artwork, and he's cool. Like, he just seems like a cool dude. And then I also love fucking werewolves, and like, why are you guys doing this to me? It's such a hard choice. And this is the Cinnamon cover, which is just like werewolf on a hot rod with a hot lady. Like, there's just so much to like here. And this is just the cover, ladies and gentlemen. I got a little sneakles peekles of the inside, and the inside is better than both of these covers. Like, it's so... Oh my God, it's so cool. Like, Mr. Donohue, like, how dare you? So this, first of all, like, and I had to ask Jay earlier because I wanted to make sure, but he sent me a preview, and I noticed that, like, it was his name on the writer credits with different artists. And I was like, hey man, like, did you write all of this? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, all right, okay, cool, I feel it. But no, like, so as someone who reads a lot of comics, and I'm on a lot of press lists, and I'm very blessed in that regard. So I get to read a lot of the new stuff that, like, if I was having to buy it, I wouldn't get to read all that, right? And so, like, you know, luckily people think I'm like influential, I guess. Sorry that you think that, and I'm sorry for letting you down, but my parents, you know, were the first letdowns, and they'll tell you were just wrong. And so, like, but you know, I read a lot of stuff, and it is very impressive to me, this anthology work, because, you know, a comic book script in one issue, you get maybe, you know, what, 22 to 30 pages if you're lucky, typically. In the indie world, maybe like, you know, 28 to 30. You don't have to worry about ad placement and shit like that. And, you know, that's not a lot of prose. That's not a lot of room to tell a story. You have to be efficient. You have to work with your artists, and like, you have to structure it well and make it happen, even if you have the promise of multiple issues. So anthology work really blows my mind, because I used to write a lot of short stories, but a short story for prose, I mean, if you get like 15 pages for a short story and it's all prose, like, you have a lot of room. You can linger. You can take your time. If you're writing an anthology or a short for comics, you get 6 to 10 pages or less, and you have to make your characters do something. You have to make your audience feel something. And to do that in a comic script with that much short of time, it blows my mind, because you have to be so efficient and so on it, and just you don't have any room. You don't have room to stutter, and you don't have room to bullshit. And so Mr. Donohue is like, yeah, like, exactly. I'm going to do that like 8 times in this one shot with different artists. And like that blows my mind, man. Like, you have to be like on a different level of storytelling to pull that off. And what you sent me, and luckily we have preview pages, we can scroll down here, but you know, you are pulling that off, right? And it's great. And I know you and Jay Schiek have worked together before, and so I feel like you have, like, you know, some chemistry, which totally fucking comes off in that zombie love story, I guess we can call it. Like, even though, like, I don't know, like, it's more sad and traumatizing than a love story, which I guess love can be sad and traumatizing in a sense. But dude, like, how? Who, what, where, why, how, what the fuck? How are you doing this? It's so good. And you're just doing this multiple times with different artists. And we kind of were talking earlier on the internet, and how, like, I love that, you know, in typical anthologies, we have like totally different creative teams. In few anthologies, we see this where, like, there's one creator who's, you know, telling the story with different artists, or we can look at like Image's Silver Coin, which is like different writers using the same artist to tell the story. But it makes this like cohesiveness that typical anthologies don't get, which, not to discredit them, they're still great, but there's just like a different vibe when you do things like this. And so how, like, have you slept in the last couple months? Like, how do you do this? Like, it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten some sleep. I really, the stories that I sent you, I mean, this book is probably about, 2 years in the making. You know, some of the stories I already had kind of done. I've kind of done it, like I said, over the last 2 years. And then when I kind of decided to do this tribute to, you know, the old horror comics and magazines and things like that, I wrote 4 news stories for it, which are in kind of different, you know, levels of production right now. And what's really, I find it funny that you say, just from that story, you see the chemistry between me and Jay. And what's really funny is that was the first story we did together.
Yeah.
Really?
And actually my first comic story that I had produced, like, completed. I think you know, for the longest time, I kind of made the mistake of, oh, hey, I have this epic 20-issue story I want to tell, this and that, you know, 15 issues, 20 issues. And just didn't really have it in my head that's like, you know, that's a lot of money, a lot of production, and, you know, finding a place to put that. So got some advice from some other creators that I respect a lot, you know, start small, do short stories. And so Together Forever, there was this idea that was just kind of in my head forever. And I just kind of wrote it out, put out on Twitter, you know, hey, are any artists that want to maybe, you know, team up, do a story? And Jace, you know, sent it to me and said, hey, sure, I'll do a story. I checked out his work and loved it. And, you know, we just kind of chatted for a while. Both loved, you know, Tales from the Crypt and Creep Show and a lot of those, you know, horror anthologies. And so that's, I mean, Jay blew it out of the water. I mean, it was amazing to see this story come to life. And then really what I find funny is that if, you know, love or hate my stuff, I think Jay is kind of the reason that I kind of got a jump start on it. Because not only did he do the story with me, and I figured, you know, hey, I got something to show with you people that are following me on, you know, Twitter. I've got something at least to start a portfolio. But he messaged me and he was like, hey, I know somebody at this online place called Hyper Epics.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and he was like, hey, I've done some work. I want to show it to the editor. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I'm thinking in my head, probably going to hate it, but sure, you can show it to him. And then I think by the next day he was like, dude, they love it. They want to post it. I was like, oh, wow, crap. Holy shit. Sure. Yeah. Let them put it up.
We did 3 or 4 with them. I think was it 3? I'm trying to remember how many. After Together Forever, I mean, they liked what we did, and they asked us to do another 3-page comic, which we did together, and then had another idea, and they wanted us to do another one, and so kind of went from there. So
you're like you're the new horror dream team.
Yeah,
hopefully, maybe one.
It was a fun match. I contemporary horror and crime are. I feel right at home there drawing it. I never hesitate with those. There's others where it's like period work or something like that, or different time period, or anything involving a lot of architecture. I tend to clam up a bit, but anything that's got zombies or bank robbers in it, I'm 100% down for that anytime.
You just wrapped up Life, right? Is it Life or Live? The B book?
Which?
Oh, were you not? Oh, shit, I just fucked that up. Were you? I thought you were on that.
Which one?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh. I did. I just finished Hallowed North recently.
Shit, that's what. Oh, sorry. Okay, yes. Just kidding. We can edit this. Oh wait, no, we can't. We're live. We just fuck up on air. That's how we do it.
God damn.
Hallowed North. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
All right. That's another J squared because J in my name stands for Jeremiah, and I did that one with Jeremiah Espinoza.
Yes.
So I went strictly by J on that one, and he got to be Jeremiah the whole time.
We'll blame it on that. We'll not blame that on me being a clusterfuck. And there's too many J's, too many goddamn J's in the house. But no, yes, that's also a very beautiful comic, and that's also dealing with like trauma and depression and like the dark side of emotion, right? So you have this like eerie shadow in your art that is very good on the page, and so like,
thank you.
Does it mess with you like to go to the dark places?
No, I've spent a lot of time there, so it's sort of. In some ways cathartic. When I got approached about that one, he mentioned he was doing a comic book sort of externalizing bipolar disorder as like a horror story, and bipolar disorder, both, in a primary and secondary sort of way has had a major influence on my life. So that felt like something I needed to do. But yeah, that one, with the realistic characters and situations, and there's a few moments in there where even reading the script, I was like, oh, damn, like there's some powerful moments in there. I'm not a picky eater when it comes to choosing a comic to draw. I that's what I love about making comics, and especially being freelance and working with writers like Joe or Jeremiah is, there's such variety to it. So I don't end up drawing the same thing all the time. Like I've drawn some zombies, but we've drawn ghosts. We've drawn, I don't know. The variety is really kind of what keeps me excited about it.
You also are really good at portraying emotion. And the titles I've seen you on are very much requiring that. Like the zombie story in Morsels, there's this loss and this sadness, and you see it from beginning to end, even at the twist, right? When that final panel hits you, when he's in bed. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I want to spoil stuff. This is so hard being the host sometimes. But when your protagonist is in bed and he's covered up, and that's supposed to be the safe area, right? We're in bed, we're covered up, we're gonna go to sleep, we're gonna let our guard down and dream and go to the next day. And what do? You come in and you're gonna say, no sir, no ma'am, like we're gonna ruin that safe zone for you.
No safe spaces.
Yeah, but if you really, but see, what I love about that story, and I think what I try to put into my writing is, I love seeing a certain situation from different perspectives. Because I feel like the whole thing about it even talks about in Together Forever. It's talking about, I mean, zombies rising from the dead. I mean, people are going to lose their shit. You know what I mean? You see that all the time, you know, and yet this guy sees it, you know, he calls it the miracle. And so he's still kind of safe in his bed. He's just inviting that in with him. I mean, that's where he wants to be. That's where he
Which
was,
is even
what was having
crazier.
happier. So
like,
yeah,
as a person who has like friends have been like, do you not see red flags? And I'm like, no. You know, like, it's like when you get to that part, it's like, did you not see the red flag? But also I love how it's also like, I love that juxtaposition of like incredibly romantic and traumatizing horror. And it works so well on the page. And again, like your other artists and the other stories I got to read, like I think it works really well. I was so stoked. Like you got a story with Lane Lloyd, which we can pop up real quick. I love Lane's art. Lane's art is so interesting because it's like can be a multitude of variations, right? It's like it's innocent and cartoony sometimes, but it can also be very like visceral and intense and weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that works well for horror. And
Yeah.
I love just this, you know, like in our the mask culture, right? Like I still wear my mask, like, you know, like I like wearing a mask. Like I wear glasses, right? And like some people are like, well, they make my glasses fog up, and I'd rather have COVID than wear this mask and have my glasses fog up because I'm an American and I have rights and things. And like, sorry if I'm offending anybody, but also fuck you. And like, but you know, like there's like this whole I love the idea of mass culture, right? Like we get a little bit of it in like Something Is Killing the Children, but that kind of like started before mass culture. And like now, but this kind of like the first date kind of esque scenario. We like meet in public and we're wearing these masks and you know, like it's hiding, right? It's hiding part of our identity. It's hiding part of our physical persona. And when we remove that, what happens, right? There's like this vulnerability. And for one side of it, it's like vulnerable. And then the other side of it is like, I'm making you double vulnerable because you don't even know what you're getting into. So like, again, that was like another really fun story. You kick it off with El Cuco, and this was just creep factor to the max. Like it's so impressive, dude, what you can do in a few short pages. And I think your writing is great, but I also think that you found a stellar group of artists to like work with you and bring your vision to life.
So just about every one of them make me look so much better than I probably really am. This one I was really excited for. I'm a big fan of Christian Dabari and his work. I mean, his horror is just phenomenal. And it's funny because he was one that I was kind of, and this was before, probably right around the same time I did Together Forever with Jay, maybe a little bit before, but I'd always kind of message him like, oh man, I'd love to do a story with you. Well, and he's like, well, I'm kind of booked up right now, you know, so it just never happened. But it was something where we kind of talked, you know, we're buddies and stuff like that. And then finally it was just kind of like, all right, hey, I got some openings. What do you got for me? And I was like, all right, this is what I got. See what you think. Because me as a writer, I mean, I always like to give the artist the story, let them read it before I guess really, you know, coming on board, just because I feel like I want them to be excited for it. I want them to like it. Because I feel like if it's a story that I'm excited to write and it's a story they're excited to draw, it just comes out in the, you know, the finished product, versus something where like, yeah, okay, I'll draw this for this guy. Okay, you know, I'll get it done. This is okay. I'm not really feeling it. So I was pumped when he had an opening and did that did that story.
Yeah, not a damn thing have I read that you showed me was like, oh, I feel like I just need to get this done. Like this is a very special anthology that like I really hope listeners tonight that are live, listeners that listen later, like morsels, get it, back it, wrestle with yourself on what cover to get because it's hard. It's a hard choice.
Get them both.
Oh, what's really funny is that story. I kind of benched it for a while and put it off away because what's really funny is I've always liked the mythology and the story of El Cuco. And so I was like, I want to do a story. And I wrote the story. I think Christian had drawn it. And then the Stephen King's The Outsider was out. I think it had been out, but I hadn't really heard, I hadn't read it, so I wasn't familiar what it was. And then I think that it was about when the show came out and I watched it and I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, I can't put out an El Cuco story after freaking Stephen King just did it. There's no way I can follow that guy.
That was funny because when you sent me, when you were working on the script, you sent it my way and I remember reading it and I'm like, did he make this up? This is really fucking creepy. And I never heard of El Cuco before that. And then I ended up reading The Outsider last year and got like the full scoop. I'm like, oh shit. Like it's like this whole thing. But like your still kind of defines it for me. That was just like so succinct and so creepy. And like the King story, it was good, but not one of his best.
Oh yeah, but I mean, still, how do you follow? Stephen King. So yeah, I think that was. I got the art in like January, February, right around that. Probably 2021, I think. And and then that happened, and I think I finished it probably around. I was like, all right, I got to just go for it. It's different, whatever.
No, it's way different. And as someone who really dug that show, like I totally, now that you guys have reminded me, the El Cuco, like I see that and remember it now. But when I read that, I did not put two and two together. I'm apparently the most oblivious reader in the world. Like I just don't remember anything. I'm like I see like a shiny thing or a butterfly and I'm like, ooh, let's go look over here. And then I just forget things that I watch. But that's crazy because I remember that now. But when I read this, I was just like, whoa, this is just creepy. But regardless of like who did it first and who did it better and who had a show on HBO, but like you still like the way it's put out on the page and the misdirection and like the switcheroo, at the end when the sister calls out from the bedroom and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, all these narratives have a really good like, whoa, wait a minute vibe that like really like grabs you by the whatever you got hanging down there and it grabs you like intensely and it like it's exhilarating and it's terrifying. And as I think horror is very difficult to do, like like some people can do it okay. Great horror I think is difficult. Great horror in such a short amount of page space, like over and over again, like I think is really hard. So like kudos to you mad ninja, you kickstarting ninja, because you're doing it right, and I love it, and I'm super excited about it. And you also have a kaiju tale, and like there's like kaijus like are like technically they should be scary, but they're usually like fun, because it's like I kind of want to watch my city crumble into ashes and be like, fuck everybody. This giant monster just took care of my student loan debt and I don't have to worry about it anymore. Right. Like, but you have this different, like, metaphysical, spiritual possession, twist into, kaiju narratives that I've never seen before. And I thought that was really cool. And, everything I've seen from Morsels warrants a purchase. And so like everybody go to Kickstarter, do your little clickety clanks on your keyboard and just back that. Yet again, Bad Mammer Jammer. We had a question earlier about what what is exactly a bad mammer jammer? And unfortunately, I can't answer that. A bad mammer jammer is more of a vibe, right? It's more of a, it's
whatever you want it to be.
right. Yeah. It's like whatever you need in the moment of weakness, whatever when you feel
whatever the
like,
mammer jammer in your heart feels is the mammer jammer.
Exactly. All right.
It lurks near the bottom of the menu at burger restaurants and places like
whatever
that.
jam you need mammed. That's what it is.
Yes. Wow. You guys must write. You're all very clever. Well, and again, last but not least, we've got Mick Beyers in the house, and you've got a Kickstarter that's up right now, which I mentioned reminded me of Conan, but it's not. It's very not Conan at all. But it has kind of
It's
a
got
vibe.
a little Conan tinge right on the edge.
It's got a tinge. It's got a little scotch Conan, little nipple tweak a Sumerian in there, right?
So it's based on the Barsoomian works of Edgar Rice Burroughs, and he started writing those like 1912, I think, was when the first one came out, and like some of the stuff he wrote, there's definitely like forerunner of Conan in there, and so it's not, it's not hard to believe that like some Conan leaks into the story, but it feels really good for someone outside to tell me that there's Conan in the story. It feels like I've done my job right.
We all want Conan to just leak a little bit into our lives, right?
Yeah. Everyone needs just a little bit of Conan.
By Crom, leak into me, right? Or sharpen your blade in a weird way. Sorry. All right. Anyway, but so we've got Queen of Mars, and I'm gonna drop a little of your Kickstarter post here. The Queen of Mars Book 2, The Queen of Thorns, a 40-page black and white planetary romance adventure inspired by the world of Barsoom, created by Edgar Rice Burroughs, which we just talked about. This is the next installment. This is he's already done one issue before this, and it was real fucking good. So like, you should probably back both and just give this guy a bunch of your money.
I mean, I wouldn't argue with that.
No one argues with me ever. I'm infallible. I'm like God, basically. I'm like, wow, no, I am not like that at all. I was raised Catholic, so like, please don't call me God. Everything I do is wrong, and I'm guilty, and I'm sad, and just like, someone make me better, please. Anyway, sorry.
But still infallible. It's
been 5 years since my last confession. The next installment, A Queen of Mars from McComics, which I love it because I'm fat and like McDonald's, so if you can make it sound like McChicken or a McDouble or a McShake or a McFlurry, if you can add that to comic books, I'm gonna fucking eat it up. Nom, 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 nom. And written and drawn by Mick Beyers, Queen of Thorns continues the story of Kar Kagut the Thark and Fedor, lost princess of Thurn. Having arrived in the Valley of Dor, Kar Kagut has sworn his allegiance to Fedor as she claims the throne of her people. Fuck!
I mean, you make it sound so exciting. I want to know what happens next. You need to tell me where this goes now.
I do too. And he draws naked people so wonderfully. There's a giant alien dick just swinging around while this monster alien with like an underbite of the devil just like fights fucking goo people and beats the shit out of them. And then there's this like really like interesting princess who's like, yeah, my tits are out, but I have agency, motherfucker, and I'm gonna put my finger down and I'm gonna command the way. And it's just like, it's so cool. And you like draw all of this and write all of this. And the coolest thing I did, and because I knew he wrote this from like older novels, old storytelling, from something that I'm like very not familiar with, but he does it in a sense where you don't have to be familiar with these old novels. He creates a universality in the narrative, and he puts you there in the moment with wonderful art, with intriguing characters, and he has a lot of dialogue, but it doesn't bog anything down. Your dialogue's great, and like, it's just so cool. And I was like really shocked, like having read the first issue. I was just like, holy shit, like this is crazy.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to follow that up.
Please, please follow. You like I say stuff and then you say stuff. That is a forum. We can't let the structure crumble.
In the original books, the characters are frequently described. They're always described as walking around naked. Like everyone on Barsoom is naked, and naked people are fun to draw, which like is part of what attracted me to it as like a world to tell stories in. Yeah. But I try like to draw like just the most like banal, boring, regular nudity that's out there, so that it isn't, even though there's tits and dicks flopping around everywhere, like they're never, titillating, and like no one's ever striking, like pinup poses. That's just, how they don't dress around here. And
yeah, it does not. It feels oddly organic. Is like the phrase that like it doesn't feel. And once you start reading it, like you're just like, oh yeah, there's an alien dick. Hang on, there's some boobies. Like and you're just like, it doesn't matter, right? Because you're swept away in this Martian culture, right? This weird this like weird. All right, here's one of my favorite parts. They walk up this giant cliff, right? There's like, they fight these like alien gorillas, and this weird alien has like 3 arms, but he only has 1 arm of the 3. He's got like 2 nubs and an arm, and he's still like whoops fucking ass, just drops these, just like monster slaying motherfucker. And like he's like talks to this princess, and this princess is like, I'm a princess, help me. And he's like, fuck you, I'm a warrior and I'm here to die. And she's like, no, but maybe like you've been asleep for a while, like maybe like embrace the new culture. And he's like, but I don't want to do that. And I was like, wow, if this isn't like hitting fucking current notes in our society right now. And like and
is
so
he
like
naked? He's
naked?
so
naked. Yeah, he's so naked.
Yeah,
he's naked, but he has a fucking belt. So he's got a belt that has nothing on it.
You gotta carry your credit card.
Just blowing around in the air.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to leave the house without any pockets. You need pockets.
This is what I refer to as the Karl Sunday wear.
See, he's in his Karl Sunday wear, and he's like, I'm here to sling ink and fucking chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum, motherfuckers. And so
I left my pants at home.
But he walks up to this cliff, and he's like, yeah, I can't climb. And she's like, oh, we don't have to climb. And she just like parts this cliff curtain, and they like walk through it. And I was like, what the like? It kind of makes no sense, but it's also like totally perfect. And it's just these weird, intriguing, totally unique to this narrative moments that make it really special, and kind of like as oddball and out there as they are, like anchor you to the narrative. And it's so smart. It's so dirty, nasty smart. Like it's almost not fair. Like how it plays out. It's wonderful. And he's like it's all pencil and dialogue, and it's not colored, and so you really appreciate the line work, which I've just like in the last few months gotten really into manga, and so like I really appreciate that, and it like gets me excited, and I get to say smart things like, oh yeah, I get to appreciate the line work, and it looks really great. It's really great on the page, and like we don't need to worry about color, and we have like the dichotomy of the line and the whiteness of the page, and it takes us to this other area, right? I get to say like pretentious shit like that.
I'm also afraid to color, which is why I don't color anything. And there's also the reasons you said, which make me sound a lot smarter. So let's go with those reasons.
What I love is that this sounds like it's something that could only be a comic, and I love it when that happens.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, yeah, they were novels first, but it's like it's hard to visualize it, I guess. Like, you can imagine naked people all day long, and like, yes, that is like
I'm a single man.
A certain kind of fun. But like, I think so. Like Disney had their John Carter movie 10 years ago. I think today is when it premiered, and it's like those people all wore clothes and they weren't really the characters in the book. And it's like, to get the version of the book visually, like, you have to make all these creative sacrifices for your rating or your audience, or whatever school board is going to be outraged that you're putting this material.
They're gonna ban it anyway. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like, comics is the best place to tell a story like that, where you can do it in, if, I guess, not a respectful way, like a non-titillating way, which is what I was after.
Cool.
So like, as someone who's like dumb to these novels that you've based all this from, and all I have to go from is your really awesome, dope ass comic that blew me away. Like, when you're reading these narratives, like, does it like cue you in? Like, and she was like, and she stood defiantly, and her nipples extended in the wind as her titties flopped around, and his alien dick had an odd curvature that resembled the cliffs in the distance.
It was just nothing to do with his hips.
The original Burroughs text.
Yeah.
This is how no one ever comes on my show again after tonight.
I mean, it
He's
was
going to talk about tits and
1912.
alien dicks. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't do
it was
this
written in
guy.
1912, so I won't say that they were, quite that lurid in their prose.
But did they let you know that they were like?
Yeah, but it was like, I think like the line is like, she wore like jewels and ornaments, but was like otherwise as like bereft of clothing as like a newborn babe, I think is how it is. And he's like, and everyone on Mars dresses like that. And like, he wakes up on the planet naked after he's transported there, and like, he puts on a harness at some point, but he's never like ashamed of his nakedness. He's never out of place because of his nakedness. When the big green aliens find him right away, they're all naked. So like, the nudity is definitely part of, the original story, and is not an issue in the original stuff either.
What made you want to make two versions of this, a safe for work and a not safe for work? Because even though like I get that, like, you start with one and you can kind of change a little bit from here to there, but your comics are longer. Like, these are 40-page issues, and you are writing it, you are lettering it, you are drawing it all by yourself, and then you're like, you know what? I'll do two versions. I'll just in case, just in case little Freddie wants to get his mom's credit card and back this Kickstarter.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
she's still wearing basically tissue paper, but you can't see her nipples, so that makes it better.
I mean, but that's like, comics are a lot of work, and you just kind of added an extra element onto like,
so
your own.
It was like
schedule.
Burroughs himself, like in the 30s, or was it in the 20s? 20s or 30s, came out and said, like, I don't want there to be any nudity in representations of this work because people will be weird about it. And so his family that is in control of the estate, like, is very strict on that rule. And like, even the fan communities I'm a part of, mostly on Facebook, there is like a large portion of those communities that are still very like, nope, cannot be nudity. Like, it's mentioned in the books, but don't want to see it, don't want to show it, don't want to share it. But the story I'm telling here is like, this is the community I want to share it to, and these are the people I want to share it with. And so I knew early on I wanted to do the, clothed version of the story so that I could share it these places and these people could read it. With the second book, I'm not doing a print edition of the closed story. I'm just going to do a digital only, because I think in the first Kickstarter, I had 147 backers, of which 23 only got the non-nudity version of the book. So
You fucking prudes.
Is it,
Get those 23 people in the chat. I'm gonna set them
I'm not going to
straight.
print off more books. I don't think, like, I'll come up with a digital version to share with you so you can still, read the next chapter, but I'm not gonna print this off anymore.
Well, okay, so here, let's pull up your Kickstarter page here. So,
is that,
God damn, why do I keep doing this? Why is technology so hard? All right, so you're at 229 backers. You're at 7K for a 1K goal, which that's gotta feel. I would think.
Yeah, no, it feels
that
great.
pretty
Like
good.
it's definitely. So this is my third Kickstarter. It's easily my most successful Kickstarter. It's been great.
I love this pose, by the way. Here's some. Again, with the bonuses, like we've unlocked the titties. I love it. You know what? 'Cause,
Like, they're also easy stretch goals.
Like you gotta unlock them. You gotta work for them, right?
Yeah.
And so
I just want to be handing titties out there for free, all right? There's tits and there's dicks. There's a very strict paywall. Because if there's one thing you can't get on the internet
incel culture, you gotta work for these titties.
You gotta
for
pay
this
for free on the
Kickstarter.
internet. Yeah.
But no, like, I mean, I joke around, but I like the nudity feels natural. Like once you like get carried away with the story, you really don't notice it. You really only notice it when you like ask the hard questions, and that hard question is, do you want the not safe for work edition or the safe for work edition?
Yeah.
But so let's see. I'm trying to get.
I mean, like, I would say my biggest critic of the nudity version is my wife, because she'll come in while I'm drawing and be like, why are their breasts so small? Why is his dick so small? Like, these are like gorgeous aliens on another planet. This shit should be huge. Where is it? Like, well,
these are the
it'd be like a grandfather clock
These are the real
pendulum.
questions.
it would throw him off balance if it was any bigger. I don't know what to tell you.
Are the stories fully public domain, or is it? Because it sounds like the family, if they have some control over it, that's
So there are 10 books altogether, 11 books altogether. You may or may not have written the last book. The first 6, I believe, are in the public domain. Everything I'm pulling from is the first 4 books, which are definitely in the public domain, but they've trademarked a lot of it. And
gotcha.
they
So you got
are like
the appearances and
the
existing material.
Like I try to like. So John Carter and Deja Thoris are clearly the most famous people from the original novel. So, I never drop their names. I try to refer, like the planet, like Barsoom is trademarked. So I try to, they constantly say the planet or our world. So I try to steer clear of that.
Gotcha. So kind of a fine line to walk.
Yeah. I try to come as close to it as I can without upsetting anyone.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's
so the colors on that, cover. Like all the colors on the covers, are from my friend Joel Bartlett, and I worked with him on my first book, which was another fantasy story that he colored for me. So I can't take credit for the colors on the covers. The colors on like the trading cards and like the thank you card, that is me. So if that's awful, please don't blame Joel for that.
But Joel is you were kind of thinking, and I'm stealing this from when you were on Explain Yourself. You were thinking of having Joel like releasing a trade and having it colored.
Yeah, so I've got like a 9-issue story roughly planned out, and it's a trilogy of trilogies is how I first.
That's going to be a huge book because you're rocking like 45 to 50 pages an issue.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like I'll do the first trilogy, 3 issues, and then do a collected edition, and then I'm going to have Joel color that first collected edition, and I'll probably do the subsequent 6 issues, as color first run. But I kind of wanted to put it out there cheaply at first, just try and figure out, if people besides these communities would respond to the story. And the answer there was yes,
right? Yeah, they're. I mean, your Kickstarters are increasing in popularity.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I think part of that is because I talked about it. I don't want to take credit for it.
Listen, this time last week,
the Blake's Buzz
$10 pledged. Yeah. No one was coming. I was like, listen, guys, I'm going to be on Blake's Buzz. And they're like, oh, okay, now we'll show up. So
they're like, it's all $7,000. Boom.
Yeah, just overnight. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
No, hey, I'm here for you guys. No, but so you have a solid jump from one Kickstarter to the next. And I think, I think the first issue speaks for itself. It was so fun. And, like when I saw your preview pages, because I see a lot of people freak out about too many words on a page. and you have a lot of words on some of your pages, and I know like I see people yell at like Brian Michael Bendis about it, and it's like, dude, fucking Bendis is like, he made Miles Morales, he made Ultimate Spider-Man, he's done so much, and you're gonna fucking like get tiffy with this dude for having too many thought bubbles on a page. And so like when I saw that initially, and I was like okay, and but then like I said, your prose and your dialogue is very fluid, and it doesn't ever like hang up, and it's very okay. So like I can't get into George R. Martin because I think he like, his prose is really clunky, and he tries to like write in the time period that his stories are taking place, and instead of just kind of like focusing on the story, and that some people are fine with it, but for me, like I'm a picky little prick, right? And it fucks with me, but yours doesn't do that.
So part of it is I try to aid Edgar Rice Burroughs' style with the dialogue, because like everyone on Mars kind of speaks in like that old semi-Victorian, like, I'm going to talk around the point before I get to the point. I'm going to dress it up in a lot of syllables to make it sound more important. I'm going to use all the adjectives at my disposal to get across this idea. So, like, part of it is that. But I listen to old-time radio almost exclusively. I don't listen to music or watch a lot of TV. I listen to The Shadow, Philip Marlowe, Sam Spade, Armis Brooks. Like, I listen to old-time radio. And what I appreciate about old-time radio is that it's all dialogue. So they've got to be able to set a scene, set stakes, handle resolutions, describe a situation, and they've got to do it all through dialogue. And I think that's definitely affected the process by which I write scripts and how I write. Is like, what can I say here to get this across? One, so I don't have to drop because that takes longer. But two, where you can relate it to the characters without it just sounding like an expo dump. And I feel like old-time radio helps a lot with that. Like, there are certainly like bad shows where they're like, why are you holding a gun pointed at my head with your finger on the trigger about to shoot me? And, some shows are like, if you're going to pull it, and learning that difference, like when to use more, when to use less, has been, I think radio has helped a lot with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've talked to people about this a couple times before. Like, so like these radio narratives, like when they used to be, that used to be like the go-to, right? Like get the family, huddle around the radio and listen to the story, right? And then, right, we like, let's advance like several decades, and we have special effects, and we have fucking 3D glasses that we wear, and we have Dolby Atmos, and we have all these things that like build up the spectacle of cinema. And what are we doing right now? We're going backwards. Like there's so many podcasts that are having success in telling ghost stories, or like Amazon did the audiobooks for Sandman, and like we're kind of like going backwards in a sense into these like audible narratives, right?
Yeah,
and
like
so,
you get that, theater of the mind effect where I'm doing something that like requires my attention to do efficiently, but like I can still think and listen to other things, and then the pictures, I can create for myself in my head. If someone, doesn't have a $50 million budget for this one episode, then it's just not going to look as good, and audio dramas, easily get around that problem because, like, again, you can just imagine all these wonderful things.
Exactly. I encourage all our listeners tonight to just kind of put headphones on and listen to this, tomorrow when it's uploaded on YouTube, and, turn the screen off and sit in the dark and just really
relax.
think about all the great things I have to say.
Blake's blows filter into your ears.
So does Kickstarter make you cover up all these little tiny penises and panels and titties?
I mean, I don't know. I like cover it up.
Just
like,
in case.
Yeah, right. I mean, I might as well cover them up. It's, it's more work, but it's not too much work, and
But again, like moments like this, when you look at this, and I mean, there's this is a lot of panels. This is a lot of dialogue. But
Yeah.
I read a lot of like
it moves, man. It
I'm
moves
trying
to
and it
think-
flows and it jives.
like the last time I read a new book from DC or Marvel, I don't remember, like 4 or 5 years ago, and like I read the book in like 5 minutes.
Seriously,
And-
you haven't read a Big Two in 5 years?
And like, so I collected Superman in the 90s, his Triangle era, and I absolutely loved it. And once the Triangle era died, it was like, I'm not so much into this. And I was never really a Marvel person, so like it wasn't hard to give up Marvel.
Wow.
But I tried to dive back in, and like the book just went so fast. Like I paid $5 for 5 minutes
Yeah,
of moderate enjoyment,
like you do.
like you do. And I knew in this like
in numerous aspects.
I wanted it to take some time to get through. So like with the first book, I wrote it as I drew it. It started as a side project. I was working on a different story. I think it was a horror story for an anthology. What was it? It was something. And I like hit upon like a new way to draw when I was like partway through this page. I was like, well, I need to finish out this project so it all looks the same, but I want to experiment with this. So I just drew the first page of the first story that afternoon to try and figure out what this new system was. And then I just kept going, and I ended up with a book, and I was like, well, now I've got to do something with it. And that's how the first book went. But like the dialogue all felt very natural, and it was just like I just took it a page at a time and wrote it. So with this book, I am trying to write it all beforehand so that it has a flow and makes sense with what came before. And it's so much more difficult this time because like I'm at that stage where I'm starting to overthink it. And like, am I setting things up? Am I thinking far enough down the road? Am I taking into account what I've already done? And I'm worried it won't flow as easy this time, but like I'm still the same writer, I'm still the same artist because it was less than a year ago that I did the first book. So like
still the same dick, still the same
yeah,
titties.
right? Like I just need
you're
to
you're
call my
overcooking the
tits
noggin, baby.
and put those tits on page, and we'll all be fine.
No, I think, dude, I think you're doing great. And again, like to repeat what I said earlier, to take these narratives that were laid out before you that you're obviously passionate about and to present them in a new way and graphically, right, which they were not done before. Like, so you're turning text into picture and making this new wave of storytelling, from these old narratives, and to like have new readers, new Kickstarter fans, like be able to fall into that comfortably, follow the narrative, get excited about the narrative. Like you're very much on the right track. So like I know it's easier said than done, but like you know it, dude. You have that program in your head, and you just let it hit the page, baby. Because you got it. You got fire in your hand.
Yeah, getting out of the way of my instincts and just doing what needs to be done instead of trying to stress over.
Which that's what we all do, right? Like there was. I shout out to Nico and the X's for Podcast crew. I used to be on this X-Men podcast, and I used to be so scared that because I was reading the Hickman reboot when I started with them, and that's they were covering these new X-Men issues, but all these team members had all this like old X-Men knowledge that like I wasn't really privy to, and I was always like scared of saying something stupid, and these guys taught me to like, hey, say your stupid shit because you're kind of funny, and like and so like they like got me out of my shell, and I felt comfortable, like just like okay, like I'm just gonna like be Blake, and guess what, people like to listen to me.
I mean, it made me $7,000 in a week. I think you being Blake is fine.
Like Morsels is already broken Kickstarter, okay, one dude did 20 million in a day, like okay, like but like and now to move on to Kickstarter, since like Jenna and Karl, I know we were talking Cult of Icarus tonight, which is from Scout, but as I mentioned, you guys just did Lady Mayhem, and found success in it. J&J, you guys have been on Kickstarter a few times and found success in it. Mick, you've been on Kickstarter. Like, for people listening that maybe have an idea, so everybody says this, right? They're like, listen up, nerds. Now's the time to tell your story. It's never been easier to tell a story before. If you want to make a comic, you just fucking make it. Like, it's that easy, right? And in a sense, and it is, and in a sense, it's like, go fuck yourself. Like, you want to give me like a little bit more, like Mr. fucking vague, make my comic, like, you know. And so, like, all you guys have been on Kickstarter and you found success in Kickstarter. What's the hardest thing about crowdfunding other than talking to weirdos like me to promote your work? Like, what's the big hurdle that you guys have found to fucking find
I mean, it's definitely the social media game for me. I stream on Twitch when I draw most days, but it's very passive. Like, I sit there and I draw, and other people can like show up and talk at me, and I will occasionally respond monosyllabically. But I'm also drawing, so I frequently forget. But trying to interact through Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, which is all I've tried because I'm too old for TikTok. I'm not crossing that bridge. Like, it's exhausting to me. It feels like a job. Like, what I do doesn't feel like a job because it's kind of not. But like, the social media aspect definitely feels like a job.
Yeah, I wish I could just draw titties and dicks all day and not post on Facebook.
Like, listen, I mean, you can. I don't know if it will pay, but you could. You could do it.
No, it'll be like two misshapen circles and like a elongated crooked U for the dick. Like, I can't draw. But I do understand, as someone who is like trying to promote like shows like tonight, and like, you know, like, I have to post this on Instagram and on Facebook, and they all post differently, right? There's no perfect app where you could just be like, I'm going to type this post and put a picture in and hit fucking enter, and you're going to put it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and everything's going to lay out perfectly, and the links are going to, because Instagram won't let you post links, which is stupid. Like, why? Like, what do you have against links, Instagram? Okay, you want fucking hashtags all day, but you can't have a fucking link to click on? Give me anyway. But no, I understand that. Like, it's
no. Tell us how you really feel about it.
Yeah, like, no, that's it though. And also, fuck Facebook, because I fucking I remade the Reading Rainbow song about the Boba Fett show, about like Boba Fett in the sky, Mando flies twice as high, and then it was like fuck these crooks, we'll shoot them and stuff. The Mando gun show, and Facebook banned me because I talked about shooting people, and like, they've released my ban a month ago, and I still can't post my live streams to Facebook. So like, tell me what that's about. So yeah. Social media is fucking exhausting. Twitter, I feel like I'm so fucking heated right now because like, everybody wants to get mad at like Jason Aaron, and if you have like a cliff top to scream from, let's scream about Jason Aaron, and because we can all write comic books better than Jason Aaron, right? Like, I could fucking be like a hotshot Marvel, like, hire me to write like 10 comic books at a time and keep deadlines. Anyway, sorry, but yeah, social media is fucking exhausting, so I get it. And that's just me. That's just me trying to like promote Blake's Buzz and talk about these shows and having to like post everything several times. And it does feel like a job at the end of the day. And you're just like, shit, damn, fuck.
Well, and I think what's been tough is, you know, the few other Kickstarters I've been a part of have mainly been you know, Project Big Hype and, you know, some other anthologies that I have one story in. So, you know, I'm just one little cog in that big machine. So I do my part to say, hey, you know, go out and back, do this. There's just not a lot that I guess I have to do. But this time around with Morsels, me being the, you know, the conductor of everything, it was quite eye-opening. And
yeah, you're Big Daddy in charge this time.
Yeah, and I think what makes it harder is, you know, and I can see it from, you know, being on the other side and being, I guess, you know, a reader, is like, after a while, I'm sure people are tired of seeing, hey, I've got a book, buy it. Hey, buy my book, buy my book, it's like it gets boring. And so trying to come up with creative ways to engage with people and talk with them, but then also sneak in, oh, hey, by the way, I do have a book. It's like a fun little tightrope you got to learn to walk.
Yeah, because like I'm never on Twitter casually. So like I'm on Twitter when I have a book to promote. So it's like I've got no other discourse. And I feel like I've been following you guys around because it's like I'm trying to remind myself and make myself spend time. I'm like, oh shit, the morsel guys respond to this. I can respond to this too. This one's for me.
You might be the first person I've ever heard of that's not on Twitter socially.
Yeah. What is this casual Twitter thing? Like, I mean, like, I hit Twitter up at like 3 a.m. when I'm leaving the bar, and I'm like, "What's up, baby? Like, what, you up? You up? What you doing? You got some pizza rolls in the freezer? I'm gonna swing by and hang out."
Hold up, you got pizza rolls?
I do got pizza rolls. I got pizza
Motherfucker, I'm
rolls
on
in
my
an
way.
air fryer. Let's
I'm outta
play.
We got rid of our Facebooks a few years ago, and I have to admit, the minute we logged out, I didn't think of it again for maybe 6 months. Like it just
I
didn't.
was like
Yeah.
right on
It
the
was like
edge.
a regular X.
It was
Where
right
he's
on
like
the
6
edge
months
of being
later, you're
like,
like, I shouldn't have left him.
of
maybe. I don't
Facebook
know,
when I
what's
launched
he
my
doing?
first Kickstarter, and everyone
Yeah.
was like, "No, you can't give up Facebook before your first." It's like I'm only on there to like upset my relatives because we're so different ideologically. That's all I use it for. Like,
Yeah.
let me quit. And they're like, "No, you need it."
Oh
But
no, you
then-
can go. It'll go. You'll feel so
Yeah,
much
I was
better.
gonna say I feel like I've done well on Kickstarter right now, and I have not been on Facebook at all.
Yeah, like it helped
Yeah.
with the first one with
So.
the He May Yet Conquer, which is what the title of the first Queen of Mars was before it was a series. Like I got involved with like 7 or 8 like Edgar Rice Burroughs communities on Facebook, and like they're the ones that funded and pushed that book across the finish line. And so it's like I still hang out with them, but like I'm also just starting shit fights with my relatives again. So like maybe I can leave this time because this Kickstarter's fine. I don't know.
Kind of got to just find your tribe and build awareness is the biggest thing with
Yeah.
social
What
media
about-
being like a major component to that.
Yeah.
Carl,
Yeah.
Carl, and other Jay, you guys are artists. So like, does Instagram work better for you guys when you have like cool pictures to post? It's
No.
not food
not really.
or stuff I get in the mail.
Fuck
I-
no.
The thing I get on
They
Instagram,
change the algorithm every 5 days.
I'll post something on Instagram, and like the biggest thing I get are a bunch of people telling me to DM it to these like art
Yeah, the
promotion
art
Yeah.
collectives. Yeah.
That shit's crazy. I
Yeah.
post like breakfast sandwiches in the morning. They're like, hit these people up, hit these, and then I get like random like messages that are like, oh, do you want like 1,000 followers? Give us money, and I'm like,
Unless you already have
that's
a huge
cute.
fan base,
That's
like unless you're
adorable.
Jen Bartel drawing pretty ladies for a Nike campaign, nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo.
That's what it feels like for sure.
Straight up, I will post a piece of art related to a project that's coming out, and there'll be like 40 likes of regular people, and then the next one is like, hey, hit us up, we got watches we want to sell. And I'll be like, yo, how about them free watches? And they're like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, I want the free watch.
You told me I
hit
can
me
have a
up.
watch.
Or like fucking weed dispensaries that don't exist in my area because it's not legal yet. And I'm just like, bro, I gotta connect. It's good. We're good. Doesn't matter. Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, bud.
That knock is the FBI at our door. Since we're just
Right? Yeah. The one time you say yes, they're like, oh, you fucked
We
up.
gotcha.
It happens. Yeah, no, fuck them.
Twitter's been the best, like as far as like social media platform for comics work. I got started on there because Marco Finnegan had recommended it to me as a place to look for paid work back in 2018.
Oh, wow.
And within 2 weeks of starting to post my work on there and say that I was available, I'd landed 2 paid jobs. It's how I met
Wow.
Joe. It's how I've met about 90% of the people I've worked with has been through Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't on Twitter, this wouldn't happen right now. Like Blake's Buzz wouldn't be a thing right now. You know, like
Yeah.
I was very fortunate in that like my quarantine, I I went from like being a bouncer at a bar to an office job, and then quarantine hit, and I was like already tired of people, right? Like I was like, I don't want to be around these fucking little weirdos anymore. Like, yes, lock me away inside my house and let me order fucking comic books, and I'm not going out and I'm not spending money. And like, so, but yeah, like Twitter was a really kind of magical thing for me. And I like, I'm gaining like popularity, and Blake's buzz is getting better, and I love it. Like, and I'm very fortunate. I don't know what to do half the time because I'm just me. Like, I'm me by myself. And so like now it's like, okay, like we're doing a podcast a week, we're doing a live stream once a week, and I love this, and I love getting to talk to you creatives. Like, I learned so much. I hope people listen, but if they don't, like, I don't give a shit, because like I learned stuff from talking to you guys. I paid so much money for an MFA program, and I got to talk to like a few writers every now and then, right? But like I talk to writers personally in fun ways that are like unique and personal to me, and I do that several days a week now. And I do that on my own, that I didn't have to take a loan out to like get to do that. And so like, but yeah, Twitter's how that happened. And it sucks too, because like you can so easily like be like, yeah, I'm having fun online, and then like you click the wrong thing, and either like the Batman spoiled for you, or the new Mandalorian spoiled for you, or like some assholes being the wrong kind of political, and gets you like heated up out of nowhere, right? And you're like, I'm big mad now, and I need to stand up for my generation, and I need to fight this guy online, tell him that he's wrong and all the reasons. And then they're like, well, show me the research, Blake. What research did you do? I Googled banned books and I didn't see anything.
And it's that kind of interaction I'd miss if I quit Facebook. How can I give that up?
See, you get out. You're like, God, give me more of this. And it's my fucking uncle, and I'm going to see him on Thanksgiving. I'm going to be like, I fucking owned you on Twitter, Uncle John. Fuck you, buddy.
The best piece of advice.
It's the same interaction with somebody else's family.
The meme that works best for that is that whole Keanu meme where he's like, if people want to be stupid, I'm like, cool, 2 + 2 = 5. Enjoy. I don't care.
I mean, that seems like a much healthier way to do it, but have you thought about my approach?
Otherwise, it's just a fire hose of bullshit 24/7, and people aren't meant to withstand that.
You just said like my whole online shtick is like, I'm like, Blake's Buzz, you're a fire hose of 24/7 bullshit. Come on, Blake's Buzz Live for a fire hose of bullshit and a good old time in Kansas City, Missouri, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. I saw the post about the JMO, so I don't know.
I'm not exactly sober, but that's fine. That's different. We don't talk about that. But
Blake's out here. He's not street legal.
Blake's Buzz.
Street legal. I don't have a catalytic converter. Don't pull me over. I'm riding dirty. So that's interesting. Like that, you guys like. I'm glad I'm not the only one who struggles. I didn't mean to interrupt somebody. Oh.
No, you're fine. I want to put. I think, like anything, it's kind of what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
And if you use it, for certain things, like I've met some of my best friends and people that I truly admire and that have actually, helped me become a better creator and writer. I met, Jay through here. Michael W. Conrad is a really good friend of mine. Nice. And, met him through Twitter. And I think part of it kind of started is, he made some cool designs of his own, his work that he wrote and drew. But I think part of it I was seeing is, I was like, oh, we got the same birthday. And I think I made like just an odd comment about that. And then somehow we just kind of got into talking. And then, through him, I've met Noah Bailey, who's going to do a story for Morsels. But, I talked to Nathaniel Uten is going to do just finished art for one of the Morsel stories. Same thing. Kind of met him through, Michael. So it's really cool the friendships and the things that you can build through this community, in the comics community. I think in itself. But like I said, you got to put in and search for what you're looking for. If you're just looking to for fights and to get mad and political discourse, it's not hard to find that. But
it'll find you either way.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What about Jen and Karl? What about you guys? Did any kind of social media aspect or of like doing the rounds? Because I know you guys did a few interviews for Lady Mayhem and stuff, and I know Cult of Icarus. I know comics take a while, so like Cult of Icarus was like rolling around well before that. But like, did your social media presence does that help your guys' career? 'Cause I know because Jenna, you write for Xenoscope too, and so like you have other outlets that you are producing work in from like traditional publishers and not just Kickstarter. And obviously, like, other than like He Who Shall Not Be Named, like your social media presence should affect like your income and projects you're able to do, right? But like, how does that work from like working with a traditional, indie publisher? Like, do you, because you guys are pretty chill online. You're very like supportive, and you have your friend group, and you guys you have like a good attitude, and you don't seem like jerks,
We're
which
healthy.
is why I asked you to
Try to
come
keep
on
it
my
pretty
show.
positive. Yeah.
But I mean, so how does that, like, does that help you
Can I take
move
this
from
one?
like take it
Thanks.
take it to the bank, baby?
Jenna is a Twitter addict. Despite her presence online, she loves checking Twitter.
Like I have to do a hard stop. I have to like log out and walk out and touch grass and like get away from my computer. You know what I mean?
And like, yo, real
Touch
talk.
grass. I love that. That's
If this is a safe, are we all quiet?
It's a
We're all
safe
quiet
space.
for a second.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Twitter, and I've hated Twitter since I joined in 2006 because it's just bad takes and uninformed opinions. And people are getting jobs off this shit, and they're not working for it. Cool.
It's very bizarre to
talked
me.
about my show like verbatim.
Nah, but I mean, like,
No, but like in
podcasts
Mike's
are different,
Buzz
man.
has commercials now.
Podcasts and all that are different. Like, I'm talking about, like, I went to school to learn how to draw comics, and there are people that don't know shit about shit who are just like, I've got thoughts. And it's like,
I have a friend who's
you have a friend
editor.
who's an editor at fucking Marvel now because like they were like, I liked all of the Stan Lee tweets, and like Stan Lee doesn't have shit to do with comics in like 30 years. Fuck off. And like that's harsh to people that don't want to hear that shit. But listen, I'm a vet. I don't give a fuck. I
was about to like punch a wall over here.
Like I'm getting so fucking tired of people being like, listen, I like Star Wars, so today's the day that I write a Star Wars book, and then like next
or draw
month,
a Star Wars
they have a
book.
Star Wars book, and like, yo, when'd you learn how to draw? I don't know, I got a tablet, and then that day I fucking drew Star Wars, and I was like, fuck you. Do you know shit about shit? Do you know who fucking Wally Wood is? Do you know who goddamn anyone who did anything? Like, I sat next to Joe Kubert, and he was like, listen, you can't draw for shit, and I was like,
do better.
Joe Kubert told me I can't draw for shit, so I have to do better. Like, it's easier to be a writer in comics because, like, all you need is to write something well, and you'll get eyes on it if you do it right. And, like, listen, that's a hard truth to swallow, but also, like...
I also think that there's a difference between drawing pretty pictures and drawing good narrative art.
Yeah.
Narrative art tells a story.
Oh, definitely.
And pinups are beautiful, but that doesn't mean that you can tell a story with pictures.
And there's just so many comics that we're Wednesday Warriors. We go to the shop every day. We went to the shop today.
I buy a lot of number ones and not a lot of number twos.
There's so many books that are just like, listen, here's this thing that's got some really good illustrations.
Pinups are easily my least favorite thing to draw. Like, I love doing the interior pages.
Right?
Yeah.
When it gets to like doing my cover or like big splash pages, even it's like, I would rather be dead than like have to just spend like 8 hours on a
I feel like that's why
image.
you're getting
No
the
doubt.
success you're getting right now, though, because it's the I loved like David Nakayama. I love Alex Ross, like Jen Bartel, like these people that make these beautiful covers and that don't do much or any at all interior work. And and like kudos to you, and a lot of them like David Nakayama works, like he drops so many covers a month, so like he's a deadline hustler, right? Others don't have to hustle like that and still get their covers out there. But it's I agree with you guys 110%. There's totally a difference between this attractive cover and fucking carrying a script and a narrative throughout one issue or 6 issues or 8 issues until, you know, Marvel or whomever decides to give you a break and maybe have a fill in, or maybe you don't get that break or cancel the fucking book. Yeah. So yeah, there's a big difference.
There's a lot of that with the independent market seems to be aware of that as well. Like just with people I see putting out calls for artists, they put in specifically like, we don't want to see any pinups. It all has to be sequential work. You see what your visual storytelling is like.
For sure.
I mean, not that it stops anybody, but.
And listen, again, I know I come off as like a curmudgeon and all, but man, comics changes every 5 years. And like when I graduated from school, it was a completely different game. 5 years into the game, when I had books coming out, it was a completely different game. And like, even when I was coming out of the show, our boy Charlie Stickney hit me up. He's like, "Hey, you been on Blake's Buzz?" I'm like, "No, there's all these new podcasts and streamers and what have you. Like, this didn't exist 5 years ago. Like, it doesn't matter, man. It like as long as the goalpost is moved back." Like comics change every 5 years.
It's weird, and it's I can't imagine. Like I'm hopefully I'm trying to like, you know, sneak in and weasel my way in from like journalist to you know, writer. But it's I don't
There's
like.
There's nothing weaselly about that. If you're putting in the work and doing the writing, that's not weaselly. That means
I know. Yeah, it's just
look at this bevy of talent you have on your screen currently.
Well, that's
just because I'm talented motherfuckers.
That's just because I'm pretty, you guys. Like, I bought this expensive microphone, and I have.
Wait, are you a sad drunk? You starting to come down off the high right?
Oh no,
we're getting hugs. So many hugs.
I gotta go get the bottle and like refresh it. No. But no, I just it's weird. Like, so I actually heard David Pepose talk to me about this.
Pepose, he's cool.
Pepose, one of the hardest working people in comics, because like that guy, his Kickstarters do so well, but he does like 30 interviews in 3 weeks.
He works his ass off.
I remember like I've interviewed him twice. Once when I was on an older podcast and once for Blake's Buzz. And I remember like the last time I interviewed him, he was like, "Yeah, I did a couple interviews before you." And first of all, like, don't tell me that, because like then the whole time I'm like, "Oh God, you just talked about this like 4 times today," and you're like stressing about. But you know, like he told me, and he was like, "Hey, I was writing reviews. I was reading a bunch of comics. I was writing reviews, and I was posting them, and I was doing the comics journalism game. And then eventually he was like, "Hey, maybe I could do this." And like I'm still getting over that step. Like I dropped out of grad school and like fell into a weird dark place and didn't write for a long time. And then I launched Blake's Buzz and started writing comic book reviews. And then like other writers were like, "Hey, you can write." And I was like, "Yeah, cool, shut your fucking mouth. That's fine." Okay. You know, and it was just like, it was weird to me. And I'm finally like, after a few years of like getting over that, like, I'm like, okay, like the itch is back and I'm ready to scratch it, you know, like I'm ready to get my nails dirty on the scratching part.
Baby, you scratch that.
I haven't taken a bath in a while. I'm just, you know, like
every creator needs to embrace the fact that there is an inherent level of narcissism that comes with believing that someone should spend their time and money on something you made up in your brain. And like the sooner that you can like wrap your mind around that and just embrace it and lean into it and just be like, yeah, I have cool shit in my brain. I'm going to put it on the page. I'm going to get better every day. And like, yes, you're going to pay me for it someday. Like that's the only way to go about it, because creators are super insecure and also super narcissistic, in my opinion.
That's why she likes me. At the end of the day, I'm just like, listen, you can fucking buy my books. I don't give a shit.
He does give a shit.
Cool. I'm really glad I ordered that $15 variant from Scout, you assholes.
All that money goes to Scout. All that money goes to Scout.
We're very grateful. Thank you so much. Don't listen to him. She's
really good at playing the company, man. I'm like at that point in my career, I'm just like, I I'm like Kurt Cobain. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're like I interviewed I've interviewed Tony Gregori a couple times, and we were talking
Oh,
about
there you
stuff.
go. There you go.
And he was like, I don't fucking read fucking Batman or X. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I didn't mean to say that.
Man, I still read Batman. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, like I haven't read Batman in a while. I'm still addicted to I very much enjoy X-Men, and I've been buying like the Chris Claremont omnibuses that come out.
Those are great.
Yeah, they're awesome. And
Claremont
just
on
recently,
the
like I just
Unlimited.
bought like all the like, oh my god, I spent so much money on. I started rewatch. So like Netflix put out the new Viking series, the reboot, and so I watched the old history show, right, and I couldn't remember where I left off, so I started rewatching it. So I'm about like half crocked, right? Like I'm watching season 1 of Vikings. I'm a little lit. I had a couple drinks. Feeling good. I'm like, fuck, Vikings are so cool. I spent hundreds of dollars while I'm watching Vikings. Like I ordered like all the Northlanders volumes, Shield Daughter, I fucking Headloper. Like I ordered all this shit, and then fucking Ben Himplesmith of all people like slides into my DMs, and he's like, oh yeah, so you're talking about Vikings. I may launch this Kickstarter.
Original hate, baby.
And then he sells me Songs of Blood.
Ben Himplesmith is one of the sweetest men on the planet.
I really hope he sketched this book I bought for him, and it's like a little remark, but it's like so cool. And I always do that. Like when I buy stuff, like I always kind of throw it out there. I'm like, hey, like bought all this stuff. You want to come on the show, man? And like sometimes it works. Sometimes they're just like, yeah, thanks for buying it, weirdo. Like, got your money. I don't have to talk to you. But no, like he's so like I shit like I know I'm not like a normal nerd, because like normal nerds don't get to do this. A normal Blake Morgan would have never thought that like week by week I could hit all you guys up, and all of you are so talented and have such great stuff out right now. And to just say like, hey, you want to come on my show, or like Mick hit me up, or Mick had fucking Charlie Stickney hit me up. Like I'm going to talk about that for years. By the way, I'm gonna be like, this dude had this really cool comic, but he didn't even approach me. He had this fucking scout publisher hit me up like, hey, my buddy watched your show.
The only reason I've ever done anything on Kickstarter is because of Charlie Stickney. Like, his artist for White Ash, Connor Hughes, streams on Twitch as well. And like Connor, I think, was part of the way through issue 1 when I started watching him. So I started hanging out with Connor. Connor and I would start to dual stream. Charlie was like, what are you going to do? I was like, well, I'm just going to draw pictures, and I'm not going to show anyone, but I'm going to wait for PC to give me that job offer I've always wanted. And that's my plan. And so Charlie like browbeat me into going to Kickstarter. And I was like, oh shit, this is amazing. And like, he's been my agent ever since, because like, again, I'm only on Twitter because of Charlie Stickney. Like I only do what I do because Charlie Stickney like pestered me into doing it. And it's like, I really love this. Like, you can actually do this and enjoy it, and meet people and talk to people and sell it to people and share it with people. And it's like, God damn, like, why did no one tell me this before? Why was this a secret? And it's all Charlie's fault.
Jenna, Karl, have you guys dealt with the Charlie Stickney experience being with Scout? Like he just has,
Charlie's
like,
the best.
He's probably
fucking
listening right now.
Charlie. Charlie's wonderful.
I was gonna say he backed Morsel, so he's all right in my book.
Yeah.
He's on top of his shit. He knows what he's talking about. He loves comics. He loves the business, and he has been kind of our guide throughout the process, and he has been invaluable. He's wonderful.
Yeah,
he's the hardest working guy at Scout for sure.
Yeah, he's super cool. I talking to him was so fun, and we holy shit, Connor Hughes is just posting it. We're logging off. It fucking freaks me out when like famous people like, and I know like my definition of famous people is probably different, but like it's just crazy. Like it freaks me out that like people listen to me. It's like I said when I sent all you guys messages like it's like okay, so Jenna and Karl, they're like everybody's riding this high, like we're selling out Cult of Icarus, and they're like oh, you like buy this before it sells out. It just slowly go to second print, and I was like, hey, what are you guys doing on Wednesday? And Karl was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? And then I like see morsels, and I'm like, hey man, like we Jay Michael and I were kind of talking about some stuff, and then I was it's just weird for like when I can't go to a woman necessarily and say, what are you doing next Wednesday? And she's like, no. And when I can like go to like fucking like people that are creating really beautiful like works of literature that like blow my mind and like people are buying and excited about, and I can say, what are you doing next Wednesday? And they're like, we're fucking coming on Blake's budget. And I'm like, what is happening? This is
that
crazy.
Should be like your new litmus test though. The next time you approach a gal, you should be just like, excuse me, miss, what are you doing next Wednesday? And if she doesn't say, I'm tuning into Blake's Buzz, you can be like, listen, do you want to see it live and direct? If she's not into it, she's not the one.
The next time someone's like, I'm coming on your show, you'll be like, you're goddamn right you are. On my awesome show.
I mean, I think I'm a pretty solid host. Like I say weird shit every now and then, but I'm pretty excited about what everybody's doing. I do my research, right? You know, like I make sure that like I know, I have faith in people. Same with my podcast. Like I need to have faith in your work and be, have some experience with it and be excited about it myself because, and I think my followers know that too, that like, if I tell you to buy a comic, like you should fucking buy that comic. And I think more people are starting to see that. And, other than like the few stragglers who are still like, oh, Kickstarter weirds me out. And I'm like, you fucking weird me out. Get out of here. But anyway, like, I'm just like, I'm excited and I'm passionate, but it does. I've been doing this for, the podcast launched last July. So I haven't been doing this quite a year. The live stream shit is way brand new and I'm still not used to it. And so it just like, it warms my heart. It freaks me out. It gets me excited when you guys are like excited about coming on my show. And I know I'm not dumb. Like I know it helps you guys and we gets the word out and hopefully like, gets you that $7,000 on Kickstarter like it did with Mick, I appreciate it. And I appreciate, I know a lot of you guys have families, a lot of you guys have kids, you got shit going on, you got live Kickstarter campaigns, which that's a lot from what I hear, right? Like a Kickstarter campaign isn't like, I wrote this thing and I took a nap and woke up and it was funded. Like, no, you're fucking putting in the work. And so,
wouldn't that be nice though? Like, yeah, I'm gonna put like nice. 2 chicken scratches on this page. I'm gonna go to sleep and it's gonna be done when I wake up. That would be amazing.
Well, it's really nice that like you're a natural at this and like your enthusiasm. I'm sure all of us spend the majority of our day when we're creating stuff alone or just in like a dark room thinking shit up. And so like to come into a place like this and have somebody be enthusiastic about what you're doing, that's like better than coffee. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's going to be the thing that keeps you going. So it's really
I'm going to hang that on the refrigerator.
Coffee's pretty good.
Better than coffee.
Better than coffee.
Quote unquote, Jenna Lyn Wright.
I really enjoy about streaming on Twitch when I draw is, especially like when you're hanging out with other streamers also drawing at the same time. Like, I've never been in the Marvel bullpen. I've never been in a bullpen, but you get that sense of like, we're all here. We're all working on the same thing. Like if Connor's streaming at the same time I know he's watching my stream. So I'm like, hey, this panel, like, should I do this? Should I do that? Like, how should I frame this? And it's just, you get that. It's not editorial so much as it is just camaraderie, I guess. And it's just being able to bounce ideas off of someone doing the same thing in the same place. And it's like, yeah, I spend all of my day alone in this room, but like I'm still sharing this process that I love with someone who also presumably loves it, and it's really nice. Like it's it's why I get up in the morning.
Man, it got so like 6 sheets to the wind mushy in this room. I love it.
I just love you guys. I just love it.
We are like one verse of
You're all
Sweet
so
Caroline
beautiful.
away.
I love that Connor agrees that you should do the dirty, nasty, smart as a full quote.
The elusive Charlie has appeared.
Charlie's here.
Oh.
Charlie's sitting on this thing in the past.
Everybody say one nice thing about Charlie. Otherwise, he'll kill you.
Charlie knows.
White Ash fucks harder than a fucking award-winning porn star. I'll tell you that much.
A lot of tits and dicks on this stream.
Tits and dicks and White Ash and elves and arrows and bows. Oh my!
Put the kids to bed. This is inappropriate.
Yes. This episode was funded by Jameson, the big bottle. That's not that big anymore. Well, I mean, so guys, I do appreciate like all this time. We've almost chatted up for 2 hours, and I'm sorry. I know you'll never get that 2 hours back, but maybe something good will happen.
We set it aside for you.
Yeah.
We came for you.
Yeah.
You stop it. By the way, speaking of that, I
boy.
just got in the mail today. You guys, when you were on Kevin's show,
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
learned about Joel Lillar's.
Yay!
No, look, your guys' buddy. I bought, so when I went to his website, because you guys were like, buy his fucking comics. So I went to his website and I bought all the single issues.
Nice.
And he like messaged me on Twitter and he was like, dude, that was like cool. Like, thank you. And I was like, no, man. I was like, it looks rad. Like, I was like, I trust the opinion of these like creatives on this show. And he was like, well, like, he was like, I'm releasing a curated edition and like, I'll send that to you later for buying these comics. And so I bought these comics and then I woke up, I got this in the mail today. Forever Winter is just really cool. And I really hope everybody checks out Joel Lillar. He's Stockpile Comics is the name of that game. But anyways, like, thank you, Jenna and Karl. Cause like you guys have introduced me to your comics and now other people's, and I hate money. I got to get rid of it. Right? When I get it, it's got to
Joel
go.
was at the Kubert
It's got to
School
get
with
out of
Karl.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel's my homie from back in the day when we were at the Kubert School, and we're the only 2 remaining survivors from that slinging it out, making comics.
One of the best dudes on the planet.
And his shit is so good.
Yeah, I love his art. I want to get him on the show. That's what sucks now is like I love that I'm getting more popular, but it's getting harder to talk to the people that I want to talk to and deal with the requests that I get via email. Someone fucking blocked me the other day because they sent me a request to like, hey, I want you to read my comic, and I didn't get to it in time, so they fucking blocked me. And then they post online and they're like, I really want someone to review my comic, and a bunch of people tag me. They're like, oh, Blake's Buzz does indie comic stuff. So I get all these tags, right? And I click on it and it's like, you can't view this tweet. And I like click the, I do like the little clicky snoop to figure out like if it's a private deal or he blocked you. And it's like, no, this motherfucker blocked you. So I called him out. I was like, yeah, I can't review this guy's comic because he fucking blocked me. Sorry, I'm that big of an asshole. So yeah, like I am a one person, and like I'm trying to do a lot and do what I can, and unfortunately I have this stupid fucking day job. If I didn't have the day job, Blake's Buzz would take over the internet. We'd be good. Like I would fucking be on top of it, but I'm not, like I got to keep up with stuff, and my life isn't that exciting, but I also have a life and a day job and this. And so, yeah, but anyway, like I thought it was really cool that like you guys were like hyping up your friend on the show. It looked really cool. I really want to talk to Joel. Joel, if you're listening, if you're out there, if you're somewhere, if you're floating about the ether sphere, if you're fucking stuck in that forever winter, we need to find a time to talk, because you have a really fucking dope comic, and
you want to have a
you
good
have
time.
good friends.
You want to have a good time.
I feel like it's a pretty good time. Like
get me and
there's
Joel.
worse things.
Get me and Joel in the same room.
Yeah.
We'll tell you some stories. That's for sure.
Well, challenge. Now you got to come back on my show. You just fucked that up.
Oh, twist
get
my
rid of
fucking
me.
arm.
Can't get rid of me, Karl.
Sounds awful. Sounds awful.
Insert. Did we just become best friends? Gift.
I think we did. Fucking velociraptors and shit.
What?
Oh damn!
What?
You want to go do karate in the garage?
Oh my
Yes.
god! All of you. We're all friends now. That's
Drum
cool.
solos for everyone.
That's right.
The best part is you guys just send me your comics now, and I don't have to buy them. Right? No, I'm kidding. I still.
There you go.
I'll totally do that.
I have bought all of your guys' comics.
Oh, thanks, man.
Like, yeah, it's that's what I do. And please get me more. Please get me just Lady Mayhem now. Like I just need it now.
I gotta finish drawing
It's
that.
on the drawing table as we speak.
Yeah.
We'll go up. All right, so we're gonna end this now. Carl's gonna wrap that up real quick. No, let's go around. I'm gonna go back around, reintroduce everybody. We're gonna let everybody know where to follow you, where to find out where you're coming out with awesome stuff, how to buy your comics. Mr. Schiek, Mr. Artist with a just stellar mustache that I'm loving. I just love your fucking vibe. Like he looks like he fucking parties, right? Like he's like I draw.
Oh, man.
He's like, I draw comics and I party. It's
If I've got you fooled, that's the best I can hope for.
I'm easily fooled.
I've got a 5-year-old.
I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, like,
Well, so you partied 5 years ago then, right?
yeah. I have like 1 beer a year these days, it seems like. So, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram under the same handle. It's at Schiekapedia. That's my last name, Apedia. It's a name I was given for just having a lot of really useless trivial knowledge in my head. And then I have my website with, I desperately need to update, but I keep a portfolio there. There's a contact form at www.jschiek.com, basically just as it appears on the screen, but without the period between my first initial and last name. Some of the comics, including, I think the one that is in morsels is on my website, not to give away part of the book for free. I can take it down if that's a problem.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. It's out there. It's been out there.
Yeah, that one.
No
Mary
soup for
Hall's up
you.
there.
You have ruined the soup.
Yeah, sorry. It's there if you want to read it together forever. And then I've got my my Sandman tarot cards I've been working on as a personal project that's up there too. I need to add a few new ones to that.
Yeah, like real quick, sum that up. I don't know anything about tarot, but I love buying the cards because they're beautiful.
Yeah, that was the thing for me too. I didn't either, so I kind of started this project as a way of learning it. So I made a couple of them just on a whim. I did a death card where you see death just kind of yawning and leaning back in a field of poppies, or I think it was poppies. And then I ended up making a couple of others, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll just do the major arcana. And then I started kind of basing them off of how my week was going. So I, like predominant emotional theme of the week, I would find the tarot card that correlated with that. And then I would try to think back into the Sandman stories and find an event or a character or something that fit with whatever that emotional theme was. And now I've got, I think, somewhere around 25 of them done.
Wow.
I've been jumping around into just some of the regular suit cards, the Arcana. Neil Gaiman has retweeted them a couple of times, which was really cool.
He's a big fan of the show. He listens every week. It's a lie. It's a lie. I wish.
But yeah, those are. I have those up on the site. I've got probably 3 more I've done since the last time I've updated it, so I need to toss those up soon.
Cool, man. I fucking love your art, dude. It's so good.
Thank you, man.
It's so emotional and visceral and wonderful, and I love that you write these I love that you're involved in these dark, twisted narratives, because your art showcases that so well, and your writers are so lucky to have you in their corner.
I appreciate it. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
And on that note, Jay, from a writer in your corner, J. Michael Donohue, both of these gentlemen are involved in Morsels, which is live on Kickstarter right now, which you should totally back, and it's fucking amazing, and it's totally worth your money. And it has 2 covers that are just too good, and you can't decide which one, and it's a conspiracy, because I think they want you to buy both of them just to get more money. But Mr. Donohue, like, thank you for coming on tonight. And where do we keep track of you? Where do we follow you? Where do we find you when you're in those back alleys writing these creepy stories? Like, tell us where to find you in the darkness, bud.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's been a blast. Any chance I get to talk about comics and writing and whatever, it's a ton of fun. But you can find me Twitter, Instagram, @JMichaelDonohue. A little more active on Twitter than I am Instagram. But yeah, I don't know what else. I mean, like I said, it's been a ton of fun to be on here, talk with other creators, kind of hear, how, they work, what they're working on. Morsels is going. I have a 2-part story that will be in Project Big Hype, Volume 2, by Doug Wood. Michael W. Conrad wrote Part 1, art by Nathaniel Uten, and then I wrote Part 2 with art by, last name, I lost it.
Thank God I'm not
Let
the
me get
only
it.
one. I'm so bad with people's names. Like
Cal,
that guy who did the comic by the people.
I'm really bad. Like I go by everybody's first name, so last names forget me. But Cal Husset, it's KALHUSET. He just launched a book, Sparrow, which was really awesome.
Yeah,
So
I just got he just dropped a digital copy of that recently.
Yeah,
he sent that out.
Yeah, and he's a phenomenal artist. So working with him has been really awesome.
Very cool. Doug is awesome people. Doug lives not far from me. Doug's a Missouri boy, and
really,
we are talking. I'm trying to get a Big Hype 2 shenanigan party together.
Well, what's funny about him is, I love Doug. Doug's the sweetest guy. There's a couple times I know he said he wanted to quit comics, and we all tried to, talk him out of that because he writes awesome stories. And what's funny is, I guess I had a 20-page story in the first volume with Cinnerman. That's kind of how I met him. And then he did the cover, the variant cover for Morsels. But I think I talked to Doug. I was like, oh, hey, I kind of want to do a story for this. He's like, oh, yeah, sure. Here, I'll part you with Cinnerman. And I think we were going to do an 8-page story. And I was kind of freaking out at first because, I wrote the scripts, went to Cinnerman. That man's a madman with a pencil. I love him. But I think he came back and he's like, oh, I think we need to do a splash page here. I think we need to do this here. And I think by the time that he gave me the art, he goes, okay, we're at 22 pages. And I was like, oh, shit. Doug is going to yell at us because we only wrote this for 8. But what I guess really touched me, what made me feel good, I guess, from Doug is that I think originally he was like, I was going to write this story with Cinnerman. He goes, but I think, he told me, he's like, I think you just have a better grasp. I think you'll knock this out of the park. So he's like, kind of took a step back and put you in there with him. So for him to kind of put himself in the background and let somebody else shine, means a lot. So
yeah, no, and Big Hype has been so cool. Like, big, like and he's working on. He's like, Volume 2 hasn't even launched yet, and he's already like throwing stuff in the pot for Volume 3, and I just love that. And he's got Betamax coming out at Source Point, and I'm so happy for him. And like, yeah, Doug is just really good people, and is a champion of indie comics and Kickstarter, and I'm happy to know people that know Doug and are involved with his projects, because he's got a fucking great eye for talent, obviously, right? Like, not to cradle you too much, but I want it, like, you're a fucking great writer, man.
Because I feel like my head's falling over. It's getting too big.
All right. Mick, where I know that you hate the socials so much.
Yeah, you know
and
what?
It's so terrible
Listen,
to ask you.
I've already funded this Kickstarter. I'm just going to disappear. This is the last thing what's going to get me. It's just easier that way.
Like, I'm going to ghost all you motherfuckers. You'll just fucking see my books in the mail.
I'm at McComiker, McComiker. Comickeer everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram. And DeviantArt, but like, who the fuck uses DeviantArt anymore? I don't. I've had that account since like 2003.
Everybody steals art from there now, right?
Like,
isn't that where they took Liam's art and like turned it into NFTs?
I think so, right? Yeah.
And they like stole.
I think it might have been. But anyway, I'm there. I'm on Kickstarter right now with Queen of Thorns, part 2 of A Queen of Mars. I've done this is my 3rd on Kickstarter. Last year? No, in 2020 I had a book out from Source Point Press called Hollow, which was a Lovecraftian take on the legend of Sleepy Hollow, and you can get that from them, or as it's an add-on for this Kickstarter if you want to pick up a copy there. That is the entirety of my body of work. Those 4 things. That's not true. I've been in 2 anthologies. All right, it's almost. But yeah, and I'm on Twitch most days. If at McComicker, if you want to stop by and say hello.
So that's where you do your live stream drawing, is on Twitch?
Yeah. Mostly it's me staring at the page contemplatively. I'll draw a line, and then I'll stare at it some more. And then 30 minutes after you've said something in chat, I'll respond, because that's when I see it.
Cool. We both deal with public comments the same way.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's hard to keep track of. Like, because even when I do my podcast, I do video chat, because I always joke, because it's easy for me to like see if you're rolling your fucking eyes at me, right? And if I need to like step up my game or not. But it's easier to talk to people when you can like see them and not just do like audio only. And I love, so it makes it easier, and I feel like, we vibe better through the podcast. But yeah, like this live stream shit, man, like trying to like talk to you guys, watch people, check the comments, like
there's a lot going on.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's like, there's like 3 things. There's 3 whole things going on there.
Like walking and chewing gum.
Yeah. Right. I mean, a lot of people
watch me get hit by a bus. Walking and chewing gum.
Flat on my face.
How did Blake die? He was chewing some gum. He was walking. There was a red light. It was red for a second. It was red when he looked at it, but when he walked in the street, it wasn't red anymore.
Well, it was, but not.
All right, and last but not least, Jenna and Karl, Cult of Icarus, just sold out, doing well, killing it. Last Kickstarter campaign, Lady Mayhem did well, killing it. Everybody's excited for everything you're doing. You're both good people. You're both fun. You're both hilarious. You're both super talented. Where do we keep track of you? Like, let us know.
Ladies first.
I am at Jenna Lyn Wright, and that's Lynn with 1 N on Twitter and Instagram. I have a rarely updated Substack, Jenna Lyn Wright at .substack.com.net, whatever that is. And I would say, just for what we have going on, we have the second printing of Icarus #1 and Icarus #2 coming out the same day, April 6th. And then I have a Zenoscope book for Jack and Jill, Myths and Legends Quarterly, coming out March 30th.
Yeah, and also Cult of Icarus at the end of the month.
Well, no, that's April 6th too.
Oh, is that also April 6th? Yeah, I don't pay attention.
Zenoscope was the first and only time I took pages to a convention.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, look at my art. Give me a job. But I was like very young in my artistic career, and it was like, oh, thanks for stopping by. And then the next guy behind me had like much better. It's like, well, let's talk to you for a little bit.
Man, I don't miss that. The convention.
I only did it the once, and it was, I mean, I wouldn't say traumatizing. I just went home and cried for a week is all.
I was going to say, but you still remember it. So
full week.
Carrying it with
it was a solid week. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was feeling pretty dehydrated by the end of it.
Yeah, you gotta hydrate well when you cry that hard.
And then what about you, sir?
Outside of Cult of Icarus, I've got my all ages graphic novel about kids versus monsters coming out in late 2022, early 2023, as well as a mature graphic novel, Last Watchtower, coming out from Black Panel Press. Also in 2022, 2023. We got Lady Mayhem coming out.
Yep.
And I've got another miniseries coming out called In the Company of Dead Men. I don't have too many details to share about that because I'm still inking the deal. Outside of that, I'm on social media. You can find me.
Karl Slominski is what he meant to say.
I don't want you to follow me
because you're the nice one, right?
she posts about our cat Murdoch, all the time.
He still thinks I'm not going to get Cat Murdoch a friend called the Punisher, and he's wrong.
Listen, if you want to find me on social media, literally it is me making strong arguments for Maniac Cop 2 being better than Maniac Cop 1, and post-hardcore bands from the late 90s, early 2000s. So if that's your jam...
And posting beautiful art.
Yeah, that too, I guess.
You can post some pretty art.
Occasionally, art happens.
Occasionally, yes.
I take social media as seriously as social media takes it, where it's like the algorithm has changed. Whatever we say doesn't matter. So enjoy the memes.
So you're busy, man. Your pipeline is full.
Guys, this is what I do, man.
Well, I mean, hey, that's what happens when you fucking sling ink like that, buddy.
It's true.
Like a motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
That's why I put a ring on it. She gets it. She's like, what do I do? She's like, you sling ink like a motherfucker. She's like, I'm sick of your shit, but.
Sick of your shit, but those pictures are pretty.
You've drawn pretty pages.
You just keep finishing Cult of Icarus for me, and shit's going to be good.
No, I'm super excited to see both of your names on covers in the future for whatever you do.
Thank you.
You're both really good, entertaining, funny, warm people, and comics needs more of you. Same goes for the rest of you. Like this, getting to talk to you guys, getting to know you guys tonight was wonderful. Thank you for giving me the time of day. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to check out some of your works. I was truly appreciative. You are also talented. You are also needed in graphic sequential art narratives. Like your stories are important and people are fucking lucky to read them. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
Oh,
thank you for coming on Blake's Buzz. Like I really appreciate it. And I totally like wish the best for all of you in the future. And I'm excited for Morsels. I'm excited for more Cult of Icarus. I'm excited for more Lady Mayhem. I'm way excited for to see what happens to our Queen of Mars.
Wow, spoiler alert, her tits are going to be out. So
yes, I'm already happy.
Score.
Done. I'm not gonna take away my pledge after we log off.
Thank you so much, Blake.
No, this was
thank you, man.
It was great.
I'd love to be on again sometime.
It was good to meet everyone too.
But I want to come back with the exact same group. I already know what this vibe is like. I don't want to meet new people.
I'm with Mick. Yeah. I'm getting old. I don't like new. Let's just keep it just us 6 people. We're good.
This is good. We know this works. We can do that.
It's funny because every time I talk, when I talk to new people, I'm always worried. I'm like, I've lucked out a lot, and I haven't had like where I'm like, what the fuck? Like this guy won't talk to me, like what do we do? And especially these live shows, it's like, like anything could happen. Right. But no, like I've been so lucky and all of you guys are all fun and knowledgeable and have great works. And I'm just like, this was so cool. Like, thank you. Like, I really appreciate it. And anytime, anything Blake's Buzz can ever do for you, legal or illegal in the future, I'm here for you. Like,
got any shrooms? Just kidding.
No, we don't get those in Kansas City anymore. It's been a hot minute since I got to take a trip on the wild side.
I don't miss Kansas at all. I grew up in Kansas. I moved to Missouri. Now I'm in Arkansas. And like as weird as it seems, I feel like the point of Arkansas I'm in is slightly more civilized. This is super weird. I don't miss that state, either of those states at all.
Well, sorry. Sorry, it sucks so bad here, Mick.
It was awful. That's why I left.
Let me just log into Kickstarter real quick. We're going to digital.
Deuces, baby.
So yeah, just a quick recap. J&J, we've got Morsels live on Kickstarter. If you guys don't back it, you're dumb. It's fucking horror. It's fucking amazing. J. Michael Donohue is doing all the writing. He's got a tremendous team of artists. Jay Schiek is one of them, and it's dirty, it's mean, it's scary, it's everything you want in a horror anthology. Mick has this sci fantasy crazy narrative that he has evolved from these narratives from the before times when before we had internet and masks
you can
and
just say tits.
Clothes.
And there's tits
and dicks.
there's
Mick Beyers
beautiful
has tits and dicks.
and
You can
dicks
stop there.
just they're gonna be bigger than yours and it's okay, right? Just deal with it, just
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
And then Jenna and Karl, we've got Cult of Icarus, we've got a new wave of punk rock fucking vampire narratives, new vampire hunters, crazy art, crazy stories. Scout is amazing. I'm so glad you guys have a home with them, and I hope they treat you well. All of you are all beautiful, wonderful, amazing creators. And Blake's Buzz was happy to have you. And we're gonna wrap this up because I can't kiss your asses anymore. I'm running out of great things to say. I'm just kidding. I could go on and on because you're all wonderful.
Thank you, Blake.
Thanks, Blake.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blake.
all. Have a wonderful evening.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye,
See ya.
guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye, guys. Thank you.